In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Godox V1 that's on your camera to trigger a second flash that's off your camera. If you're new to flash photography, then this video is for you. My name is Kelley Hoagland, and I'm a family and newborn photographer near Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I used to be completely freaked out by flash, but now I love it, and I hope to help you love it too. So if you're interested in more tips and tricks from future videos, make sure to like and subscribe so that you see those when they are posted. Before we completely dive in, I will say this is not a setup that I typically use for like my in-home, indoor, like lifestyle sessions. I did use this setup more when I was doing events like receptions. I found it really helpful too if I was in like a really big room, like with a dance floor, for example. I would have two flashes off camera, like kind of set across the room for me so they could provide fill light or backlighting, and then I would use my on-camera flash as like my primary light for my subjects. And it was a setup that worked really well, especially since I was having to like move around and move really quickly and like capture little moments along the way. So it's not a setup that I typically use. However, it is really helpful to have it in your back pocket, even if you are planning to just strictly do lifestyle sessions like in-home or indoor like I do now, because sometimes things happen. Like your trigger might fail if you're doing fully off-camera flash, which I actually had that happen to me last year. It was like a super rainy, dark day, and I was setting up for an in-home newborn session that we had on the books for a while. And I'll show you a picture of like the no flash image versus the flash image, so you can kind of see like how dark this room was. Even though it was a small room, it had like a nice window and light colors, but it just still was like super dark. So I was pulling out my equipment, setting it up, and I was pushing my trigger into the hot shoe on my camera, and part of the little hot shoe foot, which was made of plastic, it was an old trigger, it broke off, like literally as I was setting up. And so I had a little bit of a heart attack, like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? But I took a deep breath and I realized, okay, worst case scenario, if this trigger cannot limp along for off-camera flash, I'll just put one of my flashes on my camera and have it trigger a second flash that can help fill the room. So all that to say, sometimes your plans don't work out, and it's always good to have a plan B in your back pocket, and it's always good to like fully understand how your equipment works. So even if you're not planning on doing a session where it's like, you're not planning on doing like events and things like that, and you're really strictly just wanting to stick to portrait sessions, it is still good to know how to use this technique. Okay, so let's zoom in close so that I can show you the different settings I would use for my on-camera, but then also my off-camera flash. So let's start with our on-camera flash. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. And if you saw my last video about on-camera flash, you'll know that this is the window that pops up when you first turn on your flash. And this is what you would use if you just had one on-camera flash that you're wanting to use. It is automatically set to TTL, and if you saw my last video, which I will link below, I'm not a huge fan of TTL. Like, it has its place, but my preference is usually to hit mode down here and go to manual. But this is not the window or the screen that we will be using today. So instead, we're going to switch modes. And do you see how there's like this little like zigzag right here and a button below it? We're going to click this, and this takes us to the window that we want to use for on-camera plus off-camera flash, basically using this as a trigger. Now, this might get a little bit confusing. I have older flashes, and so the way that it used to be labeled, this was your master flash, and it was controlling your slave flashes. And you'll see, like, it literally says slave on the screen. But a couple of years ago, which I'm not even sure how long ago, but like basically the newer versions of these flashes, the Godox V1, the terminology has changed. So now it's, you have a transmitter flash and a receiver flash. So there's a chance that instead of having an M for master, it might have a T or like a TR for transmitter. I'm not sure. I've not really played with like the newest models. So don't get hung up on that. It's probably, you know, it has the same setup and it means the same thing, but this is for master. So we want to turn on our master flash. So do you see how we have MABC, and then down here we also have MABC. So we're actually going to click the button below M and see how that highlights that, but there are two dashes, and that basically just means that this flash is off. It's not going to fire. So I'm going to hit it again. Oh, and it's my old friend TTL, which is not what I want to use. So I'm going to hit it again. And now we have M for master. which isn't this, or not master, manual. See, I was about to say, isn't this so confusing? Like you have M for master, but it also is M for manual. So which one is it? All these M's, you know, like never know what it stands for. So this M is for master and this M is for manual. We are now in manual mode. But if I wanted to change the power, so like see it's 1/8 power right here. Let me click it again. And I could just turn the wheel. Or actually, what I prefer to do if I want like a full stop, I can hit the bottom of the wheel to go down to 1/32, or I can go up if I wanted like quarter power. Let's go to 1/16. That sounds good to me. So I'll hit the center button and that sets it. So we're set in manual and we have our power set right here. So like as you're taking photos, if you are in manual and you need to change like the power of your master flash, you would just hit this button and then you can go up or down to adjust the power and then click OK or the center button to set it. One other thing that I do want to point out to you on this interface, do you see over here where it says channel 21? Okay, this is super important. You need to have the channel for your master or on-camera flash be the same as your off-camera flash or your slave or your receiver flash. If they are not on the same channel, they won't be sending signals to one another. Like they can't talk. It's like you have to be on the same radio station. And this can also be really helpful if you have like a second shooter. You want to make sure that they are not on the same channel as you are. Otherwise, you're going to start triggering one another's flashes. So that's part of why I'm on 21. It's like a random number. And usually I would tell my second shooter to be on like channel 5, you know, something like super far away from my channel so that we would not accidentally fire each other's flashes. So pay attention to your channel and then make sure, of course, that your master is on. So I think let's turn this off-camera flash. Let's make it A just to, you know, make sense. So I'm going to click this button. So here's A here. This A is off. So I'm going to come over here and click the button below this A. Okay. TTL, don't want that, I want manual. So there's manual. Let's say we want to set it also to 1/16. So I'm going to bump down. There we go, 1/16. Click the center button and it's all set. Okay, so this one in theory is ready to go. So let's come and turn on this flash. This is our off-camera flash. Oops. I'm cheating. It was already in the right mode. Okay, so when you normally turn it on, you're going to see this interface, which is your on-camera flash. Then let's click this little zigzag friend, right? Okay, so this is the same interface as this one, but you don't want them to be the same. Like that, it wouldn't work. So we're gonna click it a third time, and now the orange screen. You want the orange screen if it's an off-camera flash, like it needs to be orange. And as you can see right here, mine says slave, and if you have a newer one, like a newer Godox V1, it might say RX for receiver. At the orange screen, that's important. You want it to be orange. But look, again, TTL, my friend TTL is always popping up. So to change that, I'm going to hit mode. Okay, perfect. So now we have an M for manual. We're still in slave mode. And I mean, it was kind of easy. We had already decided to make it A. So here's our A. So this is set up to be the correct group to be triggered. Now, let's say you already had an A flash and you were wanting to set up like a third flash. So in that case, you would need a different letter than A. So to change the group, see right here where it says GR, turn it back on, you click this button. And now it's B, or now it's C, or now it's D. So you could set up, you know, 4 different flashes, or E, 5 different flashes off camera if you needed to. But since we're just using one flash, let's set it back to A, and then we'll click OK. So that's how you control the group. So again, because we just have one, we had it set as A here, and then A on our master flash as well. But if we were setting up like a third flash off camera, we might want to change it to B. Okay, but I mentioned how we want it to be channel 21, and look, this is set to channel 1. So if I were to, let me turn this on, if I'm trying to fire this flash, the master went off, but this one did nothing. See, it didn't fire. So that's because they're not on the same channel. So to fix that, I will click, see how there's CH right here? I'm going to click this button below CH. And now I can just turn the wheel. It's gonna take me a second, but I'll get to 21. Okay, I'm gonna click the center button after I've turned the wheel. Okay, so now we should be fully set. You can kind of ignore this fraction right here because basically the flash is not the power is not being decided by this flash. It's in RX or slave mode. It's the on-camera flash that's determining how much power is going to come out. So let's test it. And I didn't show this very well, but you can test your light by clicking this green button next to the zigzag. So this basically is just going to make sure that or tell them to fire, so you can kind of see what's going on with your light. So let me set them up right here, and I'm going to flash you. Let's see if they both go off. They did! It works! They're connected! Yay! I hope that you found this tutorial helpful. Don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. Now, if you are needing more help with figuring out how to use your Godox V1, I do offer a free quick start course where basically I go through what all the buttons and all the settings mean on your Godox V1 that I typically use for sessions. I do also offer a full 4-hour in-home flash photography course where I go through everything. I explain my typical setup, like what equipment I use, how I dial in and choose settings. So if that's something that you're wanting help for your in-home or just general indoor lifestyle sessions, I'll also include that link below. Thank you so much for watching.